Children, we will see how do we know about the Britishers. Okay, so what sources did the historians use to write about something which was around 250 years back? Now, one of the important sources that about the British rule was the administrative records. Okay, now this is one of the official records of the British administrations. Now, one thing very good about the Britishers were that they believed in the act of writing. They said writing is very important. Whatever is done must be written down, and they would maintain these records. Okay, so every instruction, plan, policy, decision, agreement, investigations, all had to be clearly written down. Okay, once this was done, then things could be properly studied and debated. Okay, so even if it was a small memo or a report, everything had to be written down and documented. Okay, they also, now not only that it is written down, they also preserved all these documents very carefully and put it up in record rooms. Okay, where did they preserve it? Some they preserved in Tehsildar's office or the commissioner's office or the collectorate's office or the provincial secretariat's office, law courts, and they also made rooms where they could store all these documents. They were called as archives, and also stored them in museums. These were special institutions made to preserve important documents. So through their administrative records, the historians have written about British history, British rule in India. Okay. Children, all these records before the printing press came in, they were all again recopied and written beautifully by the calligraphist. You know who are calligraphists? Who write in a beautiful handwriting. So it's the art of beautiful handwriting. So they would copy all the documents again in a beautiful handwriting and then preserve it. And then when the printing machine came in, then they would take out multiple copies and they would print it and put it in all the important places, all the documents. Children, another way that the historians learnt about British history was through surveys. Now, the practice of survey was very common under the British rule, and they believed that a country has to be properly known before it could be effectively administered. So they carried on detailed surveys. They made maps for the entire country. In every village, revenue surveys were conducted, and efforts were made to know the type of land that is there, the topography, the soil, the flora, the fauna. All details, necessary details were collected, and they thought that every region must be known properly before they can really implement something. Even census operation. What is census? When we take the record of the number of people living in the place, all kinds of information of the people, their caste, their religion, their occupation, all that was done by the Britishers. Through these surveys, the historians have learnt more about the British rule in India. And what kind of surveys? We can see some of them: revenue survey, zoological survey, all about the animals that are there, the forest survey, even botanical surveys they did, census, and everything was recorded. Okay, even with botanical surveys, you can see in your textbooks, they would collect all this information, then draw the picture of that, and then preserve it in their gather all that and then draw the picture. This is a picture of a custard apple plant, and so that whenever anyone wants to refer, just opens that document and knows about this kind of flora that grows in India. Now children, I told you how the historians learnt about the British rule in India. Yes, they were through these official records, administrative records and survey. Okay, and these records tell us what the Britishers thought about India, what they were interested in, and what they wished to preserve. Okay, so but what do these records do not tell us? They did not tell us what the people of the country were feeling, what they were undergoing, what kind of exploitation was happening, how they were treated like slaves. All this we do not know from these records. So how will we know about these records? Yes, there are other kinds of sources through which we can find out, and the other sources were like the diaries of people, accounts of pilgrims and travelers, autobiographies of important personalities, some popular booklets. And as printing started, newspapers were published, and in those newspapers leaders and reformers wrote about their ideas, read poems. Novelists also started writing books to express their feelings. But however, these were produced by those who were literate people, who were literate and could write. So from these we will not be able to understand how history was actually experienced by the people, by the peasants, by the tribals, the workers, the poor on the streets, the workers in the mines. Okay, so getting to know about their life was slightly difficult. Okay, but the historians somehow have managed and have written a detailed record of the British rule in India. So children, you see, this chapter on how, when and where is basically an introductory chapter of history. What is history? And in history we ask these three important questions: how did that happen, when did that happen, where it happened. So it's everything about the past, and it is story about the past. So it's important to know what happened. Okay, so we have seen how the historians have periodized histories, why they have written in chapters, how did they come to know about the rule of the British in India. All these details have been given in this chapter.